Thank you, Maggie. I'm happy to be here, particularly because I'm talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is essential oils. And my passion is about empowering people to heal themselves because we have capabilities. We just need the education. So let's get started with the PowerPoint. So essential oils, what are they? You might hear the word aromatherapy as well. Aromatherapy just talks about the fragrance of the plant. Essential oils are actually the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the plant. They're volatile liquids. They're the, in Chinese medicine, we would call it Jing, J-I-N-G, or essence. It's the essence of the plant. And we get these oils through a distillation process. And some are from flowers, trees, roots, bushes, barks, seeds, and even rinds of fruits. And we're going to talk about one of those today out of the four we're talking about is from a rind. And they have chemical compounds. And these compounds are highly concentrated, which is why it makes them so potent. They are very, very effective. They can affect the system, or they can or of our entire body, or they can affect a localized part of our body, whatever we want to concentrate on. Essential oils are basically concentrated messengers of the plant world. It's plant medicine. It's also a way we can connect ourselves back to nature by using nature to heal ourselves. And there's great therapeutic value in all the oils, and each oil has a different therapeutic value. It does different things. I'm only going to talk about four, but there are many oils. So how does it work? Well, you can inhale them, and it goes to the olfactory bulb, which then communicates to a little hypothalamus gland in our brain. That hypothalamus gland is what I like to call the general of our body. It tells all the other glands in our body what to do. From the hypothalamus, it goes to the limbic system, which is where our seat of emotions are. So that's why it can help with anxiety and depression and insomnia and things like that that are initiated by our emotions. We can also use it topically. And this is probably between inhalation and topically is how I use it mostly. And you just put it on the skin. You can use a carrier oil with the oil, which means you just dilute it with another oil like grapeseed oil or olive oil or coconut oil, sesame oil, almond oil. I will caution, though, if you are allergic to nuts, don't use the nut oils. Use grapeseed or olive oil. Those are good oils. Sesame seed. And what it does is it actually goes through the dermis. It goes through the cells in the skin into the capillaries, and it's carried into our bloodstream. Now, just a interesting note I find is that the carrier oil has bigger molecules, so it does not pass the dermis layer. So even though it can carry it to the skin in a diluted fashion, the actual molecules of the plant oil, the essential oil, gets into the capillaries without the carrier oil, just in case you were concerned about that. And then once it gets in the blood, it goes to the liver and the stomach and all the internal organs or the brain, and affects those particular organs as well. And that would be an example of systemic. We can also ingest oils, not all oils, some oils. But I choose not to talk about that today, but I just wanted to mention it because that takes a little bit more research on your own. Something like lemon, you can put 1 drop in your water, but it has to be unadulterated, therapeutic grade oil, or else it will have toxic side effects. So this is why I put this slide in, watch out for the fakes. So a lot of times, the perfume industry, the cleaning industry, they put oils in, but those are all synthetic, or they mix it with toxic ingredients. So do not purchase any adulterated oils. They must say pure, unadulterated, authentic, therapeutic grade. You have to pay a little more money for them, but it's worth it. These oils last a long time, like 9 years. It should always be in a dark. If you see an oil in anything other than a dark glass bottle, don't get it. Don't get any oils in plastic bottles because it can, the plastic can affect the oil, and the dark keeps it out of the light because they are photosensitive. So keep with the therapeutic grade oils. And then in terms of ingesting, you can go online or do some research and find out which ones you can ingest and which are you can't. Even if they are therapeutic grade, you cannot ingest them. I hope that's clear. So how do you apply them? Well, there's many ways. You can put one drop, this is what I do. I put one drop on my fingertip, cut it in half, so now I have a half a drop on each, and then I'll put it on a particular acupressure point. We're going to learn that today. Or maybe by the nose, if I have sinus issues, like half a drop by each nostril. Or you can put it on a Q-tip or cotton swab and do it that way. Or you can put it, if you want a long-standing oil on the skin, you can put a drop on a Band-Aid and put the Band-Aid on. The other day, I burnt my finger, and it was a bad burn. I actually heard sizzling, which was gross. But I immediately got lavender, and I put it on a Band-Aid and wrapped it on my finger, and then kept the Band-Aid on overnight. The next day, gone, nothing. There was no burn mark at all. You can also massage it in. You can put it in some massage cream, a couple drops on your hand, or you can mix it in a container with cream or oil, massage oil, and have it all ready, and then just massage it like you would any kind of massage oil. Or you can inhale it. So I don't know if you can see this, but in the corner there's a little white dot there. That's a diffuser that I have going all the time to have the essential oils in the air for antiviral effects. They're all, by the way, antiviral, antifungal, some of them are anti-tumoral, antiseptic, analgesic, antibacterial. They're really quite profound. So if I have right now it's tea tree oil just in the air, I am actually having antiviral molecules hanging around in the air. So that's why I do it, particularly during these times. Or you can inhale it. So you just put a drop on your hands, rub your hands together, and just put your hands over your nose and your mouth together and just inhale. So these are various ways you can apply them. They are strong, so one drop is always good. If in doubt, one drop. If another drop accidentally comes out, you're fine with 2 drops. I just wouldn't do 5 drops, 6 drops, 10 drops. There are some contraindications. If you're pregnant, check with your physician, because the oils, when you use it systemically, it might go through the placenta and affect the fetus. So just check with your physician. Epileptics with high note oils. So there's high tone, middle tone, and low tone oils. So high tone tend to kind of enliven us. They evaporate very quickly. They uplift us. There's an immediate reaction. So obviously, if you're an epileptic, you don't want too much stimulation. So I would either just concentrate with them down at your feet or do the heavy tones. So the middle tones are more for balancing. They don't evaporate as quickly. And then there's the heavy tones, and we're going to talk about one each of those today. And they take a long time to evaporate. So if you want a long-lasting result, then you might use the heavy tones. Which oils are what? You can just look, any aromatherapy book will tell you, or essential oil book will tell you about the tones. If you're concerned about skin reaction, just do a skin patch test first. So you put it on, just one drop on your skin anywhere. I might do the more sensitive skin, the inside of the arm, and wait an hour or two to see if your skin has a reaction. And if it doesn't, then you can use it on your skin. Citrus oils are not good in direct sunlight. They actually change the DNA, so do not put it on and go out to the beach or out to the sun. You know, put it on your arm and then go directly into the sun. You can put it on your arm and wear long sleeves and go out in the sun, but not direct sunlight. And again, you can always use carrier oils, which I talked about before, and avoid getting it in the eyes because it will burn. And I speak from experience. So if you do get it, like if you touch your hands with the oil and then touch your eyes inadvertently, you need to use milk to dilute it. Water will not work because oil and water do not mix, and milk does work, and I'm here to tell you that it does. Okay, so why these 4 oils that I picked? Basically for this time we're in, this COVID time, where we're all anxious, we're tired, we're stiff, where sometimes we need some grounding, or we need concentration. We're stuck in front of this camera for days, hours and hours, day after day after day, which can cause headaches or eye strain, or we're just tired. So these 4 oils are the ones I picked for today. But again, there's many, many oils, but I love these 4. So let's get into it, talk about these 4. Okay, so the first one is Ravinsara. There's also an oil called Ravinsara, so look for that T. Ravinsara. Ravinsara is this is what it looks like in a bottle, is a high tone, right? So it's uplifting, right? It's a big tree. It's in the laurel family, and it's like a little eucalyptusy in its smell. It comes from Madagascar, and the oil that they diffuse comes from the leaves. And as I said, it uplifts, it energizes. It's a high tone, so it stimulates you. So if you feel a little down or depressed, Ravinsara would be the one. It also helps relieve nervous exhaustion or burnout or depression because we've been stuck indoors, or we're always have to wear a mask. You know, so you might want a little upliftment, and Ravinsara would be the one. I like this one in particular because it helps the lungs, and we're all about the lungs, right? Lung health during this time. So what you can do, and I'll show you how to use it, but just to inhale it will help, because when you inhale it, it gets into the sinuses, then the throat, and into the lungs. So this is what we do. And you're going to get a recording of this. So these are some acupressure points that we're going to use with the Ravinsara. And so you can either take a picture or you will have this on the recording. So this is large intestine 4. So what you do to find it is, if you take your thumb and you just put it close to your hand, there's a little mountain that pops up. It's the top of the mountain there. Right? That's large intestine 4. Large intestine 4 is an amazing point. It opens up to the face. The point itself opens into the face, working through the meridian system. And it's also for pain anywhere on the body. It's for headaches. It's for digestive issues. It's an amazing point. We're using the Ravinsara for it's called the command point of the face. So it rules the face. And this is how you do it. You just apply 1 drop on your palm, rub your hands together, and inhale with both your nose and your mouth to get those molecules all the way into your mouth and down your throat. So that's how you use Ravinsara. The next plant we have is rosemary. Yes, this is the rosemary you have in your kitchen, or in your herb garden. The oil's taken right from the herb. This is a middle note, a middle tone, right? So it's more balancing. I love rosemary. It's one of my favorites. I put it on the top of my head to help with concentration. Let's say you're studying for an exam. I'll tell my students who are studying to put a drop of rosemary as you're studying and never use the rosemary for anything else other than studying. And then when it's time for the test, you put the rosemary on the top of your head again. So your brain remembers what you have studied. It's very stimulating, awakening. It helps with focus and memory because it's balancing. It provides motivation, self-confidence, assertion. And because it's warming, I use it for, I mix it with the oil, massage oil for muscles. So warming oils help move the circulation topically. So you might put it in with some massage oil and it helps relieve painful muscles. You can add it to shampoo to stimulate the scalp. It's very, very stimulating. It says when your scalp is stimulated, you stimulate hair growth, and it's just a lovely smell, and it strengthens the spirit. It's one of my favorites. Just love rosemary. So this is how you apply it. So this is for fatigue, right? So there's a point called large intestine 10. It's 2 thumb widths down from, so if you fold your elbow, you have a crease there, right? And you just go down about an inch, 2 thumb widths, which is about an inch from that onto that top muscle, this bulgy muscle. I call it the Popeye muscle. And right there, if you're listening to this, you can just play around and try to find that point. If it hurts, you have it. That's large intestine 10. If it doesn't hurt, you don't have it. So it's right smack on top of the Popeye muscle, about an inch or to an inch and a half below the crease of your elbow. And that's called arm 3 Li. Back in the day when the Chinese were walking the Silk Road, they would get tired and press this point and able to walk 3 more li, which is another mile. So when you're tired, use the rosemary, 1 drop, cut it in half on one arm, half on the other arm. So do both arms at the large intestine 10 point. I also like it back here at bladder 10. Bladder 10 is just, so you have these 2 cables, muscles, which are your trapezius muscles that attach to the skull, right? The back of the skull here, you can feel them. So right on the outside of those 2 cably muscles is bladder 10. That's going to help with your sinuses. It's going to help with memory, with focus, with studying, enlivening, fatigue. It's great point. And then we also, as I had mentioned before, put it on top, right there on the top, which is called Do 20 point. And that, again, helps with memory and focus and balance. Okay, moving on. Cedar wood. Cedar wood is a base note. It's a heavier oil. It's taken from the heartwood of the tree. These are found in Morocco, these Atlas Mountains of Morocco, that's the name. And the heartwood of the tree is the inside of the tree, right? Cedar wood has a sweet, woody aroma, but because it's a base note, a heavy note, it's very, very grounding. I love using this on the bottom of the feet or on the ankles for grounding. If you feel that you're floating off, or you can't focus, or somehow you're anxious and you need some grounding, just picture this big tree, the oil from this big old tree, grounding you like it is grounded into the earth. It helps resolve worry and insecurity. If you feel off, it can reset you by grounding you. Emotional upheavals. If you fly off the handle, cedar wood helps bring you back down into your body. It settles your overactive mind, helps with burnout. It's a great anti-inflammatory. It's also great for the skin. You can put cedar wood on burns. So if you burn or even a mosquito bite or something like that, I might mix a drop of lavender and a drop of cedar wood. Eczema, psoriasis, any kind of skin issues, hives, you can put some cedar wood on there. It's great for the skin. Also, it's a good anti-inflammatory. So if you have any inflamed area like a swollen ankle, you can use cedar wood. This is very good for chi building, or energy building. And the kidney chi is in charge of that in Chinese medicine. So this is very good for the kidneys. So you can actually take a drop on your hand, rub it together, and then rub over your kidneys, which are located at the bottom rib in your back. That 12th rib's purpose is to protect the kidneys. So they're easy to find. It's the very last rib in the back is where your kidneys are locally located. And just rub your hands up and down over that, and you'll feel energized and grounded. We can also, I talked about the ankles. So there on the inside of your ankle, right behind your ankle bone there, the medial malleolus, called kidney 3, is where you would hold that cedar wood oil. And you can do it to yourself, both ankles, one at a time, but do hold any of these points, by the way, hold 10 to 30 seconds. Less than that, it's not going to have the same amount of effect. It will be effective, but it won't be as effective. So, have some patience with yourself and just put it on there. Okay, so this is a very, very grounding point here. It's our lower dantian, or our lower abdomen, and I hope you can see. So you put your thumb into your belly button, and then where your hand falls is where the point is, right? And so you just put one hand in the front, and if you drew a line directly through your body, you put one hand in the back. So you, again, 1 or 2 drops on your hands, cedar wood, rub it together, one hand in the front, one hand in the back, hold 10 to 30 seconds. It's very, very grounding. The lower dantian is also what the kidneys rule. So we're helping the kidneys again. And it's not even the physical kidneys only. It's the kidney chi. And the kidney chi is our essence, right? So it's very deep and penetrating in our body. Kidneys also hold our body's wisdom, our innate wisdom inside our body. So you're actually helping the body to kind of support the body's innate wisdom by holding this point. And this point is called, it doesn't matter what it's called. It's called Ren 4, and Do 4 in the back. So they're 2 very powerful grounding points in the front and back of our lower abdomen there. Okay, and so if you feel like you're flying off the handle, it's a great reset to just hold that. And you could do this sitting down. Do any of these points sitting down, standing, waiting, watching TV, any of that will work. And then bergamot is, this is the rind. This is what I was talking about. It's the rind of a green orange. A green orange is actually, way back in 10th century Italy, they made a hybrid of a bitter orange and a sweet lime. Now, bergamot is a high to middle tone. So it is uplifting, but it's also balancing. This is what they put in Earl Grey tea that gives it that special taste. It's bergamot. So it's balancing, it's slightly warming, it regulates mood swings, it lifts the spirit. I use this mostly for anxiety. As an acupuncturist, some people are afraid of needles. I will, before I do any acupuncture on them, and I'm going to show you the point in a second, I'll put bergamot on the ear point called Spirit Gate, and it just relaxes the person, and then they're more able to relax with the treatment. But you can just do it every day. If you tend to be anxious, bergamot is your friend. Bergamot's the one for you. Now, there's a little caution here. Bergamot is citrus. Citrus, remember, is photosensitive. So for this one, you really should not go out into the directly into the sun at all when you're wearing it. So if you're going to go outside with a sunny day, don't use bergamot. You'll be okay in the ear, but I wouldn't put it on the body. And if you want to do a skin test, you might wait more than a couple hours. You might wait 6-7 hours to see. It's very, very powerful, bergamot. And this is how we use it. So once again, this is another point called Spirit Gate. So right at the wrist, on the inside of the wrist, on the pinky side, there's a bone that sticks out. That's a styloid process. It's right there. It's under the pinky, right? If you drew a line from the pinky and a line across the wrist, where the two meet is where the point is. But quite frankly, you could do anything on the wrist and you'd be fine. This line here is great for anxiety, or toil, or worry, or anything like that. This point, Heart 7, is called Spirit Gate. So that's one point. Again, don't go outside if you have it there. Here is a little different. This is also Spirit Gate. This is ear shenmen, or ear spirit gate. And it's right, if you go at the top of your ear, there's a little, what's called the triangular fossa, because it's a little indent that looks like a triangle. It's right at the top of the ear, where it's almost made for your finger to fit in. That's where I put the bergamot mostly. And I just hold it. Hold it for 10, 30 seconds, usually 30 seconds, and then let it go. And remember, top note oils evaporate quickly. So bergamot is kind of an exception. It takes a little longer to evaporate because it does have those middle tones as well. But mostly top notes evaporate quickly. So if you want just a little quick pick-me-up, do the bergamot and go on your way, and know in a few hours it will have been evaporated off the top of your skin. You can also put one here. It's called right in between your eyebrows here. The third eye point is yin tong. It's a wonderful, wonderful relaxing point. Sometimes I'll put it there and I'll just kind of stroke it on my patients. You can do this on yourself as well. It's very, very, very calming. If you want to ground yourself, stroke down. If you're tired and you need some upliftment and focus, stroke up. So you're just either bringing the chi up or the chi down. Or you can just hold your finger there for 10 to 30 seconds. And it's extremely, extremely relaxing. You know, they've done acupuncture on animals, horses, dogs, and this point is also relaxing for them. Which brings me to another caution. If you have a cat, do not diffuse oil in the room that the cat will be in. Cats will have an adverse reaction to oils. I have a patient who's a veterinarian who said time after time people are bringing their cats in, and she's like, are you diffusing oil? And they say yes. So if you have a cat, do not diffuse oil. Don't put oil on your cat. You can use oil on dogs, but please check with your veterinarian or a specialist. Avoid citrus with dogs. Avoid citrus with dogs. If you're at all concerned, please check with your vet before you do any oils on your dogs. They should know. They should know about them. I'm sure they would. So those are my 4 oils. And that's really all I need to say at this point. People want to know where to get oils. These are, let's see, what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 5, right? I get most of my oils at Snow Lotus because I know the person, the owner who created this, kind of a mom and pop shop. It's located in California. It's I know they're clean. I know they're therapeutic grade. I trust them. I always err on the side of skepticism with oils because I cannot stress enough how they have to be therapeutic grade. I also personally don't like multi-level marketing, but that's just me. If that's your thing, there's plenty. doTERRA, Young Living, those are therapeutic grade. Rocky Mountain oils are good. Mountain Rose herbs, I'm not so familiar with, but I do know they're therapeutic grade, and any of these. So you'll have these on your recording. So that's where you get the oils. And that's it. If you want more information, you can go to my website or you can email me. And if you have questions or concerns or anything. So, Maggie, I'll give it back to you. I know that was a mouthful.
Thanks, Diane. I did want to share from the chat. There were a few messages. Someone shared that bergamot is super helpful for me with anxiety. And I also wanted to let you know there was a comment. Thank you. This was a great webinar. It's really helping me towards health and wellness. So I just wanted to share that with you, Diane. And I will remind everyone, if you have a question, you can use the chat box, or you can also email info@savvyladies.org. And I'll start with the first question we have for you is saying, how often do you recommend doing the techniques that you showed us today? Can we do them as frequently as we want?
Yes, I wouldn't do it more than twice a day, but you can certainly do it every day. Every day.
Okay.
And
okay,
obviously,
great. Thanks.
If you take a shower or something, you can reapply.
Okay. Yeah. Next question saying, I've thought about getting a diffuser for essential oils. Is this any less effective than a topical application?
It's just different. So topical is going to get more systemic, right? It's going to get into your bloodstream and affect the oils, the organs rather. Where the inhalation is really just going to get the sinuses and the lungs and the throat and the mouth more, and your moods. So if you want to do the diffuser for mood, I would highly suggest that. If you want to affect your organs, I would do topical. One is not better than the other. You can do both, as I do. I hope that answered your question. And by the way, you can get any diffuser is fine. Don't worry about the fancy schmancy ones. But do make sure it is cool air. It's cooling, because if it's a heat, do not put oils under a flame, no candles, because it will ruin the molecules. And it will not have a therapeutic effect. So make sure your diffuser is cool air.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, next question is asking if you can clarify the ratio of carrier oil to essential oil.
That's a good question. Not that the other ones weren't, but so I use if I have, let's say, 10 ounces of oil, carrier oil, I will use maybe 5 to 10 drops of essential oil. You don't need a lot. They're very, very potent. There's even a theory that the carrier oil, when you dilute it, it becomes more effective because the molecule of the essential oil in a concentrated pure form is all squished, but in a diluted form, it stretches out. So you have more of an effect. I mean, that's one theory. So I would do maybe, whatever, what I say, 10 ounces to 4 drops, 5 drops.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Next question, asking if you have a recommendation for the oil that's best for soaking feet in a bath, like for athlete's foot or foot fungus?
For fungus, tea tree oil, or Melaleuca. It's same thing, two different names, same thing. One is the plant name, and one is a common name. Tea tree oil is great for fungus.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do
Okay.
cedarwood too. You can actually mix them. And if you do blend, by the way, you want to do two different notes. If you add a heavy thing like cedar wood, which is good for athlete's foot, with the tea tree, it's gonna help the tea tree not evaporate as quickly. By the way, if you want to take a bath in the oils, use about 10 drops in an entire bathtub, and don't put the oils into very last. Because if you put it in first and then pour the hot water, the oil's going to be gone. It's going to be diffused by the time it's time for you to get into the bath. So either mix it with salt and then apply the salty essential oil into the bath, or just put 10 drops in the bath after it's filled and then vigorously swish it around so that it spreads a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very helpful tips. Do you have time for 2 more questions, Diane?
Sure.
Okay. The next one is asking if you would recommend Eden's Garden aromatherapy.
Eden Garden, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that. I'll look it up, though. Eden Garden.
Yeah, I think it's Eden's with an S. Eden's Garden aromatherapy.
Eden Garden. What you can do, whoever asked that question, is email me. So I have your email, and I'm going to do research on this, and then I will let you know. Does that sound
okay.
fair?
Yes, that sounds great. Again, your email address is diane@rooneya.com.
Yes. Diane is in my first name, Rooney is in my last name, IA is in integrative acupuncture. So diane@rooneya.com.
Okay, great. And we will share that in our follow-up email as well. If you don't have a chance to write it down, we'll be sharing all of that. And Diane, last question for you is just asking for some clarification on high and low notes or tones that you talked about. If you could just kind of give an overview of that, please.
Yeah, sure. So they're comparing it to musical notes, and it's really just the aroma that it gives off, the chemicals that the chemical compounds that the plant has. Some of it is uplifting, and it evaporates quickly. It's light, not unlike the herbs in your kitchen or teas, for that matter. There are higher notes or lighter teas and heavier tea, denser teas. There's higher herbs or lighter herbs, and there's denser herbs. And you can get lists either in an essential oil book. Like I have this one. I don't know if you can see it. This is by Kurt Schnaubelt. He knows so much. Can you see that on the camera? So he talks about it, or this one talks about it. It's called Modern Essentials, and it's by Aroma Tools. Modern Essentials, and they just list every herb and its notes. So middle notes would be not quite high, but not quite dense. So they're balanced, like rosemary, right? And so they kind of just keep you even keel. High notes tend to uplift. And then conversely, the low tones or heavy tones or notes ground you. They're heavier, so they bring you back into your body. And again, it's just the chemical compounds of the plant itself. Rosemary is kind of a plant that grows out of the ground. Ravinsara is the leaf of the tree, so it's got a lighter vibration compared to cedar wood, which is the trunk of the tree, right? It's the bark, it's the wood of the tree. So it's heavier, right? So it's denser. So it's more grounding. So I hope that was helpful. The Snow Lotus, Peter Holmes is the guy who started Snow Lotus. He has a couple books out as well. Young Living has a huge fat guidebook, which just is just like a encyclopedia of information on oils, and that's Gary Young or Young Living. These are just some examples of books, or just peruse Amazon or a bookstore and whatever looks interesting to you. Just start. Just pick a book and start your journey. And I guarantee you, if it grabs you the way it grabbed me, you will go down that rabbit hole and just keep. It will lead you to another book and another thing, and you just learn more and more and more. They're just so wonderful oils, completely underrated. I didn't even get into the medical stuff, which they help too, but maybe another time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Diane, I wanted to let you know another message in the chat. Thanks very much, Diane. I learned a lot, and I'm eager to try these oils.
Great.
So I'm sure that is echoing a lot of our attendees today, learning a lot. And I want to thank you so much, Diane, for sharing all of this helpful information, and thanks for demonstrating with us today. It was really very helpful during these quarantine times. Yeah. I want to thank everyone for joining us as well and asking questions. And thanks again so much, Diane.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone. Thank you. Good luck with your oil.
Thanks. Yes. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.